Yo, what's up, man? YouTube is FDL060 from JBS. I just literally did like a live stream just a second ago announcing that I'll be doing a live discussion with a whole bunch of YouTubers and everybody else about Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. But this is about Aquaman. The Rotten Tomatoes score is pretty much, it's fluctuating, but when I first saw it, like I first saw the first six, and I realized they were fresh, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then, I saw like Collider's thoughts on it. I saw like, superhero news, and I saw like a whole lot of different wide spectrum of people generally like giving it a B. Like for the most part, like right now it is sitting at 78. When I first saw it initially, when all the reviews started going out, it was like it dipped down like 72, then it popped back up to 77, popped back up to 78, and I just want to give you like my thoughts, as a comic book fan and like an advocate of whatever the DCU is trying to do and praying that they, not only succeed but are not feeling as though like this is an uphill battle, like we're the underdog. Because I feel like a lot of people that is one of the biggest issues on an internal level. Your boy Dave the Field Junkie, he put like a tweet out, and I responded to his tweet because he was like, a lot of people feel really sensitive and really upset. They're focusing in on those people that have these negative projections about Aquaman, and he left at the end like PTSD much or a question mark, and I was like, that's definitely it. Like I was a fan of Man of Steel, and I came out of Man of Steel, I was like, this is the greatest Superman movie I've ever seen. To like hearing people like trash it, like getting upset about the most nitpicky things, like, oh wow, Superman would never kill, oh man, like Superman would never do this, like this is not my Superman. And like it became like, whoa man, I need to get up in this critic game and actually present my perspective, like, because now this shouldn't be this. Part of the reason why I got to the critic game because of Man of Steel. And to be quite fair, like it's been a downhill uphill battle ever since, and I think that a lot of fans have become like volatile, just because you're so defensive in the sense that you feel like on an internal level that anything that Marvel does, that they are going to get praised, even if it's something that's bad, even if it's something that is underwhelming, like they're going to get like praise and it's going to work out. But probably ever since, I want to say, Green Lantern, it's been that on so many different levels. And I personally think that Man of Steel is better than Wonder Woman, and that sounds blasphemous. So it's like I understand where a lot of people's relatability is like, what, I can't, like they're always gonna feel this way. But this is a thought that I even said in even my tweet. We have to, as a whole, fix it, because critics and other peoples and other consumers and fanboys and people that are also jaded, fans, are going to make this something that is just undesirable in and of itself. It's going to be to a point where not only are we looking at Rotten Tomatoes to affirm us whether or not it is valid in what we think about a film, but even more so than that, we undercut it or praise it. And I think that is the most disservicing thing that we could ever do, regardless if it was, Avengers 4, and we're sitting there like looking and like, what is it going to be crazy or terrible? Like, does it matter? Because at the end of the day, this is something that we will never have again. This moment that we're having, even like me talking right now, is never a moment that we're going to have again. And it's like, yeah, I can dwell on looking at, Collider, talking about things they didn't like about Aquaman. I can go on looking at, what's your boy's name? Is it Roger? This dude, what is it? Roger somebody. Whoever that dude was that put that one rotten for Miles Morales just to keep it under 100%. I could go and dwell on that joint. But at the end of the day, Miles Morales is one of the dopest films I've ever seen. It was amazing, right? But I could go and be like all jaded and like make a tweet, because I really wanted to. That inside of me, I was like, why couldn't you just let it be? Why couldn't you let it be? At the end of the day, everybody has an opinion. Everybody has, everybody wants to be a critic ultimately, but everybody's allowed to have their own personal perspective. And it's just in the stratosphere because we all have social media ability. And so it's like we can't let that something that consumes us or undercuts us against each other, because what is happening now, it's like this DC is the trash, and Marvel is at a high plateau, but they're never going to change. And we've been proven wrong on multiple occasions. Civil War, well, I'm not going to say Civil War. Winter Soldier went beyond the grain. Guardians of the Galaxy went beyond the grain. It's been what you would a normal Marvel film to great lengths. You know what I'm saying? And I think that the other antithesis of that, as much as like it worries me that what Zack Snyder built and what he might release later on or what might change or whatever, what he's done, it'll never be forgotten from me. It's never something that I will undercut. It's never something that I will look at as like, man, like he tarnished like the Batman or Superman name, even though I know he was good. Like everybody else says unanimously it was bad. I can't just put that and label that into a bow. Like no, like I have my own opinion. I have my own perspective, and there's nothing wrong with that. Regardless of what the statistics show, regardless of what the money shows, yes, those are factual in terms of the business, but what it actually means to me on the inside, and what your movie's supposed to be about, is everything. And so the other side of that, I have to look at, what I'm saying, if James Wan changed the beginning of the movie, so with Mira, meeting Arthur outside, while he's like, trying to get back to his dad, they changed that and made that more lightened up, or they made certain things a little bit more campy. You know what I'm saying? Like, if the movie is good, if it works, now I don't know, I haven't seen the movie, but if it does, I can't undercut that just because something has been changed, because then that's the same exact thing that I'm talking about. Going beyond the grain is something that both of these universes, both of these, franchises are gonna do, and the progression as we get older, as we know it. You know what I'm saying? Like things now, like I saw, IMAX VR. I was like, what the heck is that? I have no idea what IMAX VR is. But that is something that we're moving towards. I'm pretty sure when James Cameron comes out with those Avatar movies, there's gonna be technology that we have never seen before, going beyond the grain. But that's a part of the journey. That's a part of all of this. Because if we don't see it like that, and we go and focus so much on those people that want to be fanboys, that want to be heard, that want to get, their numbers up, or like talk about or linger on the negativity things, or like when Zack Snyder's talking about certain stuff and they're like, well, we're going to hype this up, or we're going to say this doesn't exist. Those are not beneficial to us. That's not beneficial to your heart. It's not beneficial to you as a fan. Like, let that joint go. Because if we don't, all of this stuff is going to go. All these different things and amazing shows, bro. Like, what they're doing right now with the Elseworld is phenomenal. And I can tell you, The Flash has not been good last season. And there's some episodes this season were not good. But what they've been able to do with that and with Titans, it blew my mind that Titans is as great as it is. I was a person that looking at those costumes like, yo, what the heck? I am guilty of that. Lord, forgive me for actually even coming for them, because they went beyond the grain and still are comic book faithful. But if I hadn't have said, if I was one of those ones that, was so vexed and focused on this and that, I wouldn't even be able to internalize how amazing it is. So it's like, yeah, people probably are talking trash about Aquaman right now. Yeah, Collider said this about Aquaman. Yeah, IGN gave, Aquaman like a 7.5. Yeah, Black Mirror, they gave it like a 4 out of 5. All those things are great. All those things hype the movie from a financial logistical level. But at the end of the day, you can go on Tuesday to a $5 movie and still see this movie and probably enjoy your time. If you're worried about it, go and do it that way. But if not, if you have the money, if you have time with your family and friends, life is too short to be getting like caught up in all this foolishness. This is a time and an age for great moments from this genre, from this medium, that we have to make sure we don't lose our heart from it. We can't lose our ambition behind it. Because next year, we're getting a live-action Lion King, live-action Aladdin, a new Star Wars. We're getting Avengers 4. We're getting a random Joker movie that I don't understand, that doesn't make sense to me, but I cannot undercut that. You know what I'm saying? And if Zack Snyder comes back, I will be over the moon if this happens. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, like, we can't dwell on these negative things because people at the end of the day are gonna push their perspective, their ideals, for whatever the reasons are. Some people are gonna push it to try to push and get a rise out of you. Some people are gonna push it because that's really just how they feel. Some people are gonna focus on the most nitpicky things and critique because that's what critics do. But at the same time, I'm a critic, but I can look and try to enjoy what's actually happening in the moment. I would have never thought that Bumblebee would get a 96% rating on Rotten Tomatoes right now, but it's at that, which tells you something. I would never have dreamed that, Into the Spider-Verse would be at a 99% rating, but it's at that. Aquaman, for better or for worse, is at 78%. That's a B, dog. That's fresh. It might end up certifiably fresh. Aquaman, the meme that people have been using for years, with Jason Momoa's help, with his enthusiasm, with his team, with James Wan, they've been able to bring something really great to us, and we should celebrate it. And that's part of the reason why I'm making this video, because don't feel jaded for those people that are talking trash about it. Don't feel jaded for those critics that have already made up in their mind what they think about it, for whatever their perspectives are. And yes, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is, for me, better than Homecoming. Whoever left that question. But yeah, you guys, it's too great of a time. It's too blessed of a time. There's too many crazy things going out there. It's too dangerous outside for us to be focusing on these other things. Instead, let's just enjoy it. Let's go and show support for these films, because if we don't, what else is going to happen? Anyway, leave a like if you thought any of this made any sense. If it was just a rant to you guys, that's fine. I thank you for the views. God bless you guys. Make sure you go and check out Aquaman next week. Make sure you check out this week Into the Spider-Verse. I've heard mixed things about Mortal Engines. I think it got a Rotten Tomato score of 36. That doesn't matter. If you want to see it because of Peter Jackson, see that joint, okay? And I think also next week is Bumblebee, and in between that, on the 19th, is Mary Poppins, which I heard is popping. No pun intended. So please leave a like. Talk to you guys later. Keep it locked. JVS, we ain't gonna stop. Peace, guys.